you're saying it one-sided. You're not telling the other side of the story of what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What did Hamas do?
I mean, from day one, when you see rapes in the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something that...
What rape is?
But stay on this here if you want to continue with this.
But what is?
But my concern when you're saying Israel's doing it, you're saying the other side isn't doing anything?
No, but I'm asking... there was no rapes during October 7th. They've shown no... They showed no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
I'll send you stuff. No, there's plenty of stories. It's not all of them.
The Israeli articles that I saw recently said that there was only 2 babies killed. One was shot by a bullet and the other one died in a hospital. There was no babies in ovens. There was no beheaded babies.
Every now and then, a debate show has a moment where the host stops looking like the authority in the room and starts looking like the one struggling to keep up. That's exactly what happens here. Patrick Bet-David sets up yet another confident monologue on Palestine, and suddenly Dan Bilzerian, not a foreign policy not a seasoned analyst, walks straight through the talking points and leaves the host visibly scrambling for solid ground. This is civic current for viewers who care about facts, accountability, and democracy in the middle of highly emotional conflicts. Subscribing helps this community grow and stay independent. So if that's you, consider joining the channel. What makes this exchange so striking isn't just that Patrick is challenged, it's how quickly the usual formula breaks down. The familiar everyone's seen the footage line, the assumption that viewers will accept unexamined claims about what we've all watched. Online, all of that runs into a guest who quietly insists on specifics, sources, and consistency. The power balance on the set flips. The brand built on sharp business logic suddenly looks vague, and the guest who was meant to nod along becomes the one demanding clarity. Moments like this are a reminder. Media personalities don't just owe their audience passion, they owe them precision. If a story is strong, it can withstand questions.
Big ones all have lobbyists. They all have lobbying that they're doing.
Not in the U.S. They're registered as foreign entities.
Right. I mean, if you're talking about, are you going to the dual citizenship part with Israel, Israel?
That's another problem is a lot of our politicians have far more allegiance to Israel than they do the United States. I mean, that's a whole nother issue as well.
Do you know why they did the dual citizenship? Do you know the history behind why they did the dual citizenship?
What do you mean?
Like, so the whole concept of dual citizenship was because when Israel became a, country again, they didn't want the people from here who wanted to go back to Israel that didn't have a motivation to go if they were going to lose their citizenship here. So that was the reason why they did it. It was kind of like, okay, you're your own country. We kind of need some of you guys to move over there to help the country out. Yeah, but I'm not going to go. Why are you not going to go? Am I going to lose my citizenship here? But you are. I mean, we don't do that. Every other country, I don't want to lose my citizenship. Well, okay, how about if we do this? How about if we allow you, just Israel, to go back to your country, you won't lose your citizenship? That was the arrangement at the beginning why they did it that way.
No, look, I get it. I have 3 citizenships. You know what I mean? I think it's okay. I think
what's the third one? I know Armenia, but what's the...
St. Kitts.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't have an issue with dual citizenship. My issue is when somebody is holding a U.S. office and they are putting a foreign nation's interest before America's interest, and they are favoring that other country. And so that, to me, is treason. Like, when you are a U.S. government official, your motivation should be to do things in the best interest of the government that you are representing, not 100%. Some other fucking foreign country. And that's the problem.
Okay, so, but go through it. So what is the solution? Meaning, if Israel's the enemy, then if let's just say you don't do anything and everybody in the Middle East unites to take out Israel, do you think the Middle East is better without Israel? And do you think the world's a safer place without Israel?
100%. It's not even close.
Okay, tell me why. Why do you think?
Give me an argument otherwise, please. But give me one argument why the world would be better off with Israel. Let's just start with that. One thing. Give me one thing.
Have you ever lived in the Middle East?
No.
I lived there for 10 and a half years. It's a very, it's not as like here. You can sit here, you can be an atheist, you can be an agnostic, I can be a Christian, he can be a Jew, he can be an LDS, Muslim, no problem. We can coexist here. You can do that in Israel. You can do that.
I mean, not really. They're operating apartheid right now. So everybody's not living equally.
Not at the level of Iran. Not at the level of what Iran is doing. I mean, in Iran, if you're thinking what Israel is doing out of control, do you know how much money Khamenei's family's made? Do you know how much money they've taken? They have 200.
I've never been to Iran, but I've been to Dubai, I've been to Saudi, like I've been to UAE. So like, and they're all Muslim. They seem to be operating fine.
I would say Iran's slightly different than, but go back to it. So, okay. So you think the Middle East and the world would be a better place if Israel didn't exist?
Yes.
Okay.
Israel's committed, so many terrorist attacks. They're stealing land right now. They're operating apartheid. They're currently committing a genocide on Palestinians. Like, do you believe in the genocide they're committing?
I think they're fighting for themselves and they're defending themselves.
Do you think that's defense?
Well,
when 1,200 people died, and of which the 1,200 you've killed and admitted that you've killed a lot during, your Hannibal.
I will tell you this. The part I question where people who are Jewish can't stand when I say this, I don't know how you, Netanyahu, claim you have the best intelligence in the world, Mossad, and you didn't know that on October 7th they're attacking
you. About it. They didn't. They wanted it to happen, so they had a reason to take that. They wanted a reason to take the land.
I totally get it.
And they killed their own citizens. And they claimed that all these people got. That was bullshit. They claimed beheaded babies. That was bullshit. Everything that they said was a fucking complete. Not only was it a lie, but they committed all those atrocities themselves to the Palestinians and been caught doing it. In fact, they just got caught gang Palestinians. How many babies have they killed? All the things that they accuse the Palestinians of, or Hamas of, or whatever, they're guilty of 100-fold themselves. And they've been doing that. Like, October 7th wasn't the start of this. Like, the start of this was Nakba. They've done so many different.
Disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, so I mean, this is not like, it's not like October 7th is like, it's all of a sudden they just came over there unsolicited and just killed people. Like, they have been killing Palestinians for years and years, operating two sets of justice. It's like they have the justice for the Palestinians and the justice for the Israelis. And if you read the Talmud, like, if you're not Jewish, you're basically not a human. You're like, like cattle. If a Jew is killed by, somebody that's not Jewish, then it's the death penalty. If a Jew kills somebody that's not a Jew, then, you can't kill them. It's not the death penalty. Like, they literally like segregate in their Bible.
They're very protective of themselves. I don't think anybody can debate that. I don't think it's a.
Well, it's not the problem isn't that they're protective of themselves. The problem comes when you think that you're better than other people, and you think it's okay to lie to anybody that's not a Jew. You think it's okay to steal from people that are not a Jew. You have two sets of standards. The problem with that is it allows you to rationalize anything, right? And human beings are generally self-serving creatures. So if your fundamental religious belief system allows you to operate in such a way that you believe there isn't consequences to stealing from other people, killing other people, raping, kids that are under 9 years old, like, if you think those things are okay, then, how are you going to operate? Because to me, like, my moral code keeps me on track.
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it's because you're saying it one-sided. You're not telling the other side of the story on what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What did Hamas do?
I mean, from day one, when you see the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something
what videos?
But stay on this year if you want to continue with this.
But what?
But my concern when you're saying Israel's doing it, you're saying the other side isn't doing anything.
No, but I'm asking. There was during October 7th. They've shown. On October 7th, they showed no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
I'll send you stuff. No, there's plenty of stories. It's not all of them.
The Israeli articles that I saw recently said that there was only 2 babies. One was shot by a bullet and the other one died in a hospital. There was no babies in ovens. There was no beheaded babies. All that was.
What becomes clearest in this final stretch is not just the disagreement itself, but the shape of the disagreement. A viewer can watch this moment and immediately sense the difference between someone protecting a position and someone interrogating one. Dawn keeps returning to the simplest civic standard we have, claims must match evidence. Patrick keeps returning to the emotional memory of early headlines that were later corrected by the very institutions that first amplified them. And this is where the discussion takes on a wider democratic relevance. When early wartime reports circulate, especially in the first 24 hours, they often travel faster than verification. Every conflict scholar will tell you this. Human rights researchers will tell you the same. So when governments later revise or retract claims, the civic responsibility of any commentator is to adjust the narrative accordingly. It isn't a matter of loyalty. It's a matter of integrity. But Patrick's difficulty here illustrates a phenomenon we see often in modern politics. A narrative that becomes so emotionally anchoring that updating it feels like a loss rather than a correction. And that is where democratic discourse becomes fragile. Because the moment evidence is treated as optional, a conversation stops being about understanding and becomes about defending identity. You can see how this dynamic emerges again when Dan mentions internationally documented human rights concerns. It isn't Dan manufacturing a critiques or findings acknowledged by Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, B'Tselem, an Israeli human rights organization, former Israeli officials, UN human rights bodies. These institutions may differ in their prescriptions, but the underlying documentation exists. A robust debate can challenge interpretations, but it cannot pretend the documentation isn't there. And yet, Patrick avoids engaging with those findings directly. Instead, he turns to more comfortable terrain personal experience, sentiment, or shifting the topic entirely. It's a defensive posture, not an analytical one, and anyone watching from a distance can see the friction between the two approaches, one grounded in verifiable patterns, the other grounded in emotional certainty. What Don exposes perhaps unintentionally is how fragile an argument becomes when it is built on selective context. Because once the full context re-enters the room, occupation, displacement, dual, legal frameworks, UN rulings, power disparities, the vocabulary of defense alone no longer explains the situation. Any balanced analysis must broaden its frame.